morning. This is Attorney Karen Jimeno. We'll look into the latest developments in some of the hottest issues today, here at the forefront. The government shakeup continues as PBBM ordered the courtesy resignation of top officials from government-owned and controlled corporations yesterday. Meanwhile, as the DPWH prepares to rehabilitate EDSA, the MMDA is rolling out measures to manage traffic and reduce congestion during the construction. Are these moves signs of a more accountable and efficient government at work? Joining us this morning through Zoom is former Dean of Ateneo School of Government, Attorney Gabriel La Viña. Good morning, Dean Tony.
Good morning. Good morning.
So, Dean Tony, let's start with the latest news that also surprised people yesterday. The request from President Bongbong Marcos for all of the heads of government-owned and controlled corporations to resign. What is the political significance of this request by the President for now the GOCCs to also tender their courtesy resignations?
The way I see it, it doesn't seem to be performance-based, even from what we've seen. It seems like the President is doing a loyalty check because the people he must have appointed in the beginning of his term are no longer really his people or might not be his people. So I think that is what they are doing more than a performance check. It doesn't seem to be about a review of, making the government more efficient, more effective. I don't see that. Now, of course, officials of GOCCs have terms of office based on their charters. But the reality is they're also appointed by the President, and the trustees are all appointed by the President that vote in this. So you cannot force them to resign. But if you don't resign, it's very easy for the government, for the administration, to tighten the screws, and then you won't be able to function as a GOCC official if you defy the President.
Okay, Dean Tony, we'll continue to discuss with you because I want to ask what the difference is between having cabinet secretaries tender their courtesy resignations as opposed to those that had GOCCs. But for now, we'll have to take a short break because we're experiencing technical difficulties, but we'll be right back. Welcome back at the forefront. And we still have with us Dean Tony La Viña. Dean Tony, you were discussing earlier that this whole revamp of the cabinet and now the request for the GOCCs to tender their courtesy resignations is more of a loyalty check. What do you think is the cause of that? Is it something to do with also the performance in the midterm elections? Because let's say if it's related to this rift between former President Duterte and Vice President Sara Duterte, that happened like within the first year. So, ano pong nag-trigger nitong loyalty check?
Because the election triggered that in terms of timing, no? Kasi it's really true, Karen, that after a midterm, the President reorganizes, uses it as a reset. So, totoo naman yon, talagang automatic yon. There are 3 times that the President reorganizes. 1 year after an election to appoint people that lost in the election, right after the midterms, take into account the results and also what his priorities are moving forward. And another year, a year after the midterms, because there are people he wants to appoint that run for office, right? And lost, so he wants to appoint it. So 3 times to do a reset, and the president took this. Di ba? What for me was problematic here is they gave the impression that they will reset the government. But it's a massive transformation, a radical transformation because of the midterms. Eh kung ganon, dapat nagsimula siya by revamping the economic managers. Kasi, at the bottom of it all, the people felt, I think, sa elections, that the government has failed them in terms of their livelihoods, in terms of inflation, in terms of food, di ba? Yun naman ang clear eh. Bakit? Kasi nilipat ng gobyerno ng Marcos allowed that to ayuda, di ba? To the discretion of politicians yung services. Instead of providing good services to the departments, the government allowed it, di ba? Yan ang ginawa sa PhilHealth, nilipat basically sa mga congressman ang pera para sa PhilHealth instead of allowing PhilHealth to pay for all our benefits, for all our sicknesses, di ba? So that's what happened here. But hindi naman niya binago at all, di ba? No changes in the economic manager. So talagang the messaging is off. Di ba? If you say, I want to transform my government, make it better, and then you don't take the radical changes necessary.
Well, now that the president has called for the resignations of the head of the GOCCs, are you expecting this to have an impact on the primary concerns of Filipinos? So based on a recent Pulse Asia survey, the primary concerns are inflation, and you have peace and order, and also jobs. So palagay niyo po ba itong GOCCs na change could impact those main concerns?
Very minimal, Karen. Very minimal. That's why I say this is not necessary for making the government more effective, di ba? This is just a loyalty check, which I don't object to, ha? In the first place, Marcos should have appointed people that he really trusted, di ba? Rather than just appoint anyone that was recommended to him. There are too many, up to now, there are quite a lot of Duterte supporters that are in government that should have been eliminated at least a year after nakabagsakan na yung unit team, di ba? Imagine, Arnel Ignacio has been there for 3 years and did a lot of damage. Seemed to have done a lot of damage if the allegations are true. That's a diehard DDS right there.
But what about those that have been performing well, Dean Tony? Do you think that this might also be disruptive to the operations of GOCCs?
Well, any reorganization is disruptive, di ba? That's why I wish it were performance-based. At the same time, unacceptable to have someone that is against you in a position that you have appointed to. That's not, hindi na yan professional eh. So, DDS supporters should all be taken away from the government because that is not professional. For someone belonging to one political camp, still in government, serving a president that they do not like, that they talk about badly behind the scenes, no?
But was this happening po ba, Dean Tony?
When you're a political appointee, you should leave power the moment your boss leaves, di ba? Yun ang professional thing to do, Karen. Eh.
Yeah. But here, it doesn't really happen. I mean, sometimes even delicadeza, no?
It's amazing people stick to their positions because, lovely ang mga positions natin. Kita mo naman lately, di ba, ang laki ng mga salaries ng mga government, which I actually support, ha? I actually support because you also want to have highly paid government officials, but hindi appropriate for those who belong to political camps to stay on.
But when you say that, Dean Tony, that it's not appropriate to be speaking against the government or the president, did you observe that in the past?
Yeah. Many of the political appointees of Duterte that stayed on, appointed by Marcos, they attack Marcos.
And this is disruptive, not just to...
It's terrible for the service.
Have there been mass courtesy resignations that have happened in the past administrations? Because
a lot of times, Karen, every time there's a big crisis, di ba? Of course,
can you remind us, ano po yung pinaka-recent? Because it seemed like...
Well, recent. Kay Duterte, walang nangyari kay Duterte
Yeah.
kasi loyalist, appoint si Duterte ng mga loyalist, ruthless si Duterte sa loyalist na kanyang ina-appoint, no? Kay Pinoy din, kasi ruthless din yung loyalty ni Pinoy. Very loyal siya sa mga tao niya, no? Regardless of the mistakes that they make. Si GMA did that several times. Every time may crisis siya. Before finally settling on mga ex-military officials as her officials, no? FBI would do that for yung parang regular housekeeping lang. But the most famous, of course, is Cory Aquino, because Cory Aquino faced coup d'etats, di ba? And every time there was a coup d'etat, he would try to reset the cabinet to
Okay.
respond to whatever was
So
the
it
problem.
has happened in the past under
Yes,
President
yes.
Cory Aquino, and then for housekeeping matters with former President Fidel Ramos, and then with President GMA as well, especially to manage mga crisis. In
Political
hindsight,
crisis na.
political crisis. So pagka nangyayari po ba ito in hindsight, looking back, were they effective in addressing situations, or did they improve the state of the country?
Mixed naman siya. Mixed siya. I can't really say na effective all the time or ano. Kay Cory is the most kasi they were about she was facing big, di ba, big issues like a coup d'etat. So her revamp was ideological. For example, firing Enrile and the people of Enrile from government after EDSA. At the same time, firing Joker Roy, which was very painful. Di ba? People that were perceived to be from the left, Jimmy Ongpin, finance secretary, di ba? So that was seen as very, I wouldn't say that was effective, no, but in terms of governance. But it was effective in terms of stabilizing the situation post-coup d'etat, no? It's just hard to get a grip on the success. Parang emergency powers yan, di ba? It's hard to prove a false negative. Di ba? What if he did not do it? Would it have been better? Was the answer is I don't know. Di ba? If it would have been better kung hindi niya ginawa yung revamp na yun.
But is it really a revamp? Are you seeing a revamp so far? Because that's what you
No.
said, that they've kept the economic team intact. And so far, wala pa tayong nakikitang major po talaga.
It's not a revamp, di ba? Medyo fake news yon na magre-revamp siya, magre-reorg siya, di ba? I think the president is just doing what a normal president, a usual president does after the midterm. So I would have preferred na didn't make a big thing out of this.
From a political strategy standpoint, what benefit did that have? Like asking for a massive courtesy resignation versus just firing people that you deem to be necessary to be replaced?
Well, by not doing that by not making radical decisions, di ba? Walang benefit. The announcement had a benefit, di ba? People were even saying National Resignation Day. Yung day na yon when she asked, di ba, but by then not following it up, di ba? The biggest change. But that's only because of the replace of, di ba, she was taken out. Si Secretary Yulo Soga, which many of us think actually performed well. But pinalitan siya ni Papa Lutilla, who is very good, di ba? An excellent choice, di ba? So parang hindi equivalent lang yun. Parang kinuha mo magaling, nilagay mo magaling, di ba? That's from our point of view sa environmental community. At least many of us in the environmental community. So hindi naman siya yung Secretary of Foreign Affairs, big appointment yan. But parang normal lang yun. Maybe it was time for Secretary Manalo to go again back to, kasi may mga ambassadors natin, they go every 3 years to a foreign post. So it was time for a foreign post for him again, di ba? Wala naman ito performance issues related yun, di ba?
Dean Tony, out of curiosity, what positions are you seeing so far na hindi pa napapalitan, hindi pa rin ako confirm if the head would be retained? that do you think would be crucial to at least address some of the major concerns of Filipinos?
I think the office of the Solgen is a big thing for ano no for at least for the legal community, for human rights, for because it seemed to be very clear naman that Secretary Guevara or Solgen Guevara has very different views from the Marcos government on several things, diba? So there's an expectation. I don't know if that will happen. That he will be changed. It's probably the biggest change that will happen. I repeat, Karen, it's economy.
Yeah.
Economy.
When it comes to addressing inflation, ano po yung pwede pang mabago?
That's
to
the
reduce
economy. That's the economic managers. That's the DTI kung inflation, di ba? Yung budget, the secretary. I'm not gonna. I don't know them very well. I haven't followed their. It's not my expertise also, but I'm just saying that collectively the economic managers are to be blamed or should be held accountable for lack of jobs, lack of livelihoods, the ability of government not to provide services by allowing Congress to basically rob the people of funds, rob agency of funds to provide services, diba?
Okay.
That's the biggest thing, by the way. It's about services.
Yeah.
That is the biggest thing, no? That has really affected the people the most.
Yeah.
Because you go to hospital, you have to go to a politician first. Imagine that, diba? To get ayuda, I mean, ayuda is the worst term ever. It's the worst introduction of a governance term ever.
Yeah,
Diba?
and-
Because it's about patronage. It's not about service.
And you
Those
mentioned earlier,
people
Dean
deserve
Tony, that yun yung isang pagkakamali of this administration so far where they allowed Congress to use the budget for ayuda instead of improving the basic services that the departments provide. Do you think that there should be a change in the House leadership?
That's up to the House, right?
Yes. Yeah.
There should be a change in the way the House does their work, and in terms of both the House and the Senate, in terms of the budget process. Terribly talaga, Karen. This is the most corrupt budget we've ever had, and every year it gets more corrupt, diba? And look naman, they should know now na it doesn't win them elections, diba? A good candidate without money but has delivered, for example, or offers an option can win. Look at Vico Soto in Pasig, right? No ayuda, but just plain services. Just deliver services, di ba? Regardless of politics. No question about who you will vote for. Who do you support? You're a citizen of Pasig, you go to hospital, you're delivered the service, right? That's what we need from the government.
And let's look back at the GOCCs because now they are expected to tender their courtesy resignations. What key agencies here do you think might at least impact good governance or corruption and good governance is also one of the concerns of Filipinos. With PAGCOR, do you think they've been effective so far in stamping out POGOs in the country?
I can't go line agency by agency, Karen, because I'm not familiar with all the agencies, di ba? But alam mo, I do know enough GOCCs that in the end they're not as relevant to, di ba,
The departments.
to the public as the budget is, di ba? The national budget is, di ba? Of course, I mean, if you consider BSP a GOCC, but it's really not a GOCC, no? It's a constitutional body, di ba? So we take away constitutional bodies and we just the normal GCC. Lalo GOCC with charters, di ba?
Yeah.
The SSS, GSIS, yun ang may tunay na di ba? DBP,
PhilHealth? PhilHealth po.
of course, well, if you consider PhilHealth, yeah. I mean, PhilHealth is more than just a GOCC, di ba? It's really essential for services. It's the one that's in the front line of services. So I don't really care about PAGCOR too much, di ba? Or PCSO. Tulong-tulong yan here and there, ba? But it's really more the ones that are in the front line of services.
So far, those in the front line like PhilHealth and Pag-ibig, do you think they need some improvement?
Everything needs improvement. But alam mo, PhilHealth, bago yung ano dyan, iba President Jan, so, like the newly appointee should not be changed. Diba? Like Sani Angara, my God, he's the best ever DepEd for a long time, no? Keep him there. Si Secretary Benitez sa TESDA, also very, very good, diba? So people, it should not be, ano nga, kaya I'm not in favor of these big promises of revamp and then you don't actually change a lot. For good reason, diba? People that are new in the position should not be changed.
Yeah. So it should have been just, in your opinion, targeted replacement of those that are not performing effectively.
Yes, if ahead of time they already said they will not change the economic and finance team, and also the security team, no? Then yes, it's time for them
to just change kung sino yung kailangang palitan. With
Yes.
the GOCC's, Dean Tony, can you explain any legal differences with respect to changing them? For example, with cabinet secretaries, they serve at the pleasure of the president, but with GOCCs that have their own charters, can they be forced to resign? Wala bang security of tenure sa kanila?
Okay. They are elected for a term. Okay, so we know that 3 years or 1 year or usually 3 years. Usually elected by their boards. But the president is the one that chooses them. Theoretically, they can defy, but it is stupid for them to defy because the president will just tighten the screws on that GOCC and the GOCC will suffer. So walang laban yon, walang laban.
But
Just
kung
go.
legally,
Just go.
if they don't want to follow, meron basis for that.
Yes, but it will be foolish, stupid. It looks like you're hanging on to power.
Dean Tony, what do you think is the public perception now that we've had these 2 waves of asking for courtesy resignations? What do you think is the public perception of the President Bongbong Marcos's commitment to transparency and reform?
Well, yung sinabi ni President Aquino, di ba, Noynoy Aquino, di wow, di ba? Di wow, parang I don't see much change actually, to be honest.
You don't see any change. Are you hopeful na meron pong magiging improvement in the upcoming 3 years?
Before, after, yes, I'm a very optimistic person, no? So yes, sa environment, I think Papa Lutilla is the best ever appointed to that person, to that position, and that's my field, no? So I can say that with certainty. Secretary Lusaga was very good, but Papa Lutilla will even be better than the last secretaries that we've had, no? Not just Secretary Lusaga, but I would say the last 5 secretaries that we've had in the DENR. So that for sure we will have an improvement in that area. That said,
yes.
very important. So I'm sure Sani Angara will do really, really good. Secretary Benitez, as I said, will do really good. They're not part of the revamp, but they were just appointed to their positions.
DOTR po, that we have a new head there, si Secretary
Yes, Vince Lizon is a
Yeah.
dynamic, di ba? But EDSA is a real challenge for him.
Yeah.
Because he knows people will hate the government, for their experience of EDSA in the next 2 years. So ang kailangan is pagkatapos noon, improve. May walkways ba? May pedestrian bike lanes ba? May busways ba? But if it's more of the same, why did we have to suffer? Diba? So much for more of the same. Diba? Why will you have to suffer so much? So ang hope itong rehabilitation, so EDSA should not just be diba, the usual rehabilitation, but they take it, if you're gonna suffer so much, change the experience, diba?
Yeah.
Make it pedestrian friendly, make it transport friendly, improve your MRT, Dapat ganon. Otherwise, Secretary Duzon, who I know is a decent and also dynamic person, will be seen as a failure.
Yeah.
And the
Tamang-tama din,
president,
Tony,
the
will have someone,
candidate,
yeah.
the candidate na magmumura tungkol sa EDSA in 2028 will win the elections, hands down.
Well, Dean Tony, you've been a dean of the School of Government for many years. In a few words, ano po yung advice nyo kay President Bongbong Marcos in the last remaining 3 years of his term in terms of improving, really, the services of the departments?
It's about strong leadership, di ba? And number one is take back from Congress what they have taken from you. The power to decide how to spend money. Alam naman natin, Congress decides the budget, not how to spend money. Decides the allocation for the budget. Okay naman yon. But what Congress has done, kinuha nila from the President. Kinuha nila from the departments. Di ba? While avoiding the legal issues of pork barrel, di ba? But the reality is, it's the congressman now and the senators that control spending. Di ba? Abolish ayuda. Tanggalin na yung ayuda na yan. Grabe. What ayuda has done to this country is to destroy this country. To take away services from people who should be given services.
Thank you so much, Dean Tony La Viña. Very good advice po. And salamat din sa segue ninyo about EDSA because we will have the MMDA Chairman after your interview.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dean Tony.
Salamat, Karen.
And now we'll have the MMDA Chairman Attorney Romando Artes to talk about the new traffic management efforts when At the Forefront returns after a short break. Joining us this morning via phone patch is MMDA Chairman Attorney Romando Artes. Good morning, Chairman Don.
Good morning, Attorney Karen, and sa inyo pong taga-subaybay at taga-panood.
Chairman Don, ano po ang masasabi ninyo doon sa traffic situation sa EDSA ngayon compared to the past years, the past 3 years?
Well, masasabi ko naman po na compared sa pre-pandemic level na mas konti pa yung sasakyan, ay mas gumagalaw po yung traffic. Ang number one reason po dyan ay yung pong bus carousel. Dati po, 2 lanes ang buses, nakakasakay baba sila o saan-saan, nangingitlog, meaning nagpupuno ng pasahero. So, may improvement naman po sa traffic insofar as EDSA, yung paggalaw po ng traffic sa EDSA. And siguro napupuna rin naman po yun ng ating mga kababayan na hindi na po whole day yung traffic. During rush hour na lang po yung mabigat at nagpo-flow naman po ng maayos pag hindi po rush hour. So, may improvement naman po despite na parami po ng parami yung sasakyan po dyan sa EDSA.
So you're saying, Chairman Don, na statistically dumadami siya over the years yung volume ng mga sasakyan at saka motorcycles na dumadaan dito sa EDSA. Pero nakikita natin na may improvement po sa pagdaloy sa EDSA.
Yes po, meron naman po. Dati po, pre-pandemic level, nasa 30 to 15 kilometers an hour lamang. Ngayon po, between 19 to 21 kilometers per hour po, yung average po natin na travel speed. 2023, ang volume po ng vehicles na lumalabas on a daily basis sa buong NCR ay 3.2 million lamang. Ngayon po ay nasa 3.6 million na po tayo. So, despite na po na dumadami talaga yung sasakyan, at least po hindi po bumibigat yung daloy ng traffic. Pwede rin po natin i-attribute din po yan kasi po may mga skyways na tayo na nadagdag. So, and yun nga po, marami na rin po ang tumatangkilik sa busway, sa bus carousel ng DOTR at ganoon din po sa MRT dahil nai-improve po yung pampublikong transportasyon po natin.
Meron po bang tinitignan ng MMDA na mga bagong infrastructure plan or transport plans to further improve the situation in EDSA?
Well, unang-una po, may programa po ang DOTR na increase pa yung capacity ng train system po natin, lalo na ang MRT3. At ganoon din po, magdadagdag din po ng 100 buses para sa bus carousel, para po mas mabilis po yung sa pila at mas marami pong ma-accommodate. Dahil sa amin po talagang tingin ay ang solusyon po sa traffic sa EDSA at sa buong Kamaynilaan ay yung pong improvement sa mass transportation. Kasi po, kung wala pong alternatibo yung ating mga kababayan na masasakyan na komportable, mabilis, ay talaga pong mapipilitan sila na gumamit po ng sasakyan na pagtitingnan po natin ng isang kotse, ang laman, 1, 2 tao lamang. Samantalang po ang bus na katumbas lang po ng size ng 2, 3 kotse o hanggang 4 na kotse, ang laman po niyan ay between 50 to 60 na tao. So, again, yung improvement po talaga ng mass transportation, ang ultimate po na solusyon dito po sa traffic problems natin sa Metro Manila.
Meron po ba kayong update, Chairman Don, dun sa situation or status of the other mass transit projects like the subway project in Metro Manila and the rail project from Manila that will go all the way up to Clark and sa Olongapo, sa Subic?
Well, DOTR implemented projects po yan, pero ang akin pong pagkakaalam, ako po ay nakaupo sa board ng LRT1. Nabuksan na po namin yung Parañaque Station. So hanggang Parañaque na po yung LRT1. At soon, maiidugtong din po yan hanggang Las Piñas and hopefully hanggang Muntinlupa. Yun naman pong subway project natin, nire-review na po ni Secretary Vince Dizon. Alam naman po natin, action man yan. At with his expertise and management skills, tingin ko po mas mapapabilis yung pong projected na pagtatapos ng subway. At ganun din po yung North and South Rail project po. Hopefully mapabilis, inaksyonan na po niya yung common station na matagal na pong overdue. So hopefully with Secretary Vince Dizon na nangunguna sa DOTR, mas mapapabilis po lahat ng infrastructure projects, particularly sa sektor po ng pampublikong transportasyon.
Yung MRT po sa Commonwealth, meron po ba kayong update on that project?
Yung sa Commonwealth, ang projected po nila last time po na na-discuss yan ay 2027. Hopefully matapos na po.
And you're optimistic po na at least bago matapos itong term ni President Bongbong Marcos, magkaka-developments dun sa Commonwealth MRT and subway?
Ako po ay confident na mas mapapabilis po lahat yan with Secretary Vince Dizon at the helm of DOTR po.
And Chairman Don, it was this week na nag-start itong NCAP or No Contact Apprehension Policy. How has it been so far, yung pag-implement? May nakita po ba kayong improvements sa traffic?
Well, unang-una po, yung pong disiplina ang unang-unang improvement. Noong May 19, kasi continuously po kinukuha namin yung datos ng nagbabiolate. Noong May 19, although hindi namin natitikitan before lifting ng TRO, noong May 19, 3,900 plus ang naitala po namin na violation. Noong first day ng implementation, nasa 1,100. Ngayon po, yung next 2 days, 600 plus lang. So, doon po natin makikita na pag meron pala pong nakabantay ay yung ating mga kababayan ay sumusunod po sa batas trapiko. Nakita po natin yung mga nag-viral na video, lalo-lalo na sa Commonwealth, na maayos po yung karsada, yung lane po ng pampublikong transportasyon ay maluag. So, mas marami po tayong namumove na tao. May mga reklamo, may mga puna na ina-address naman po natin tulad po ng reklamo sa DTEX na may mga vendors na nakakaharang, lalong-lalo na sa gabi. Yan po ay kino-ordinate natin sa Quezon City Government at kahapon po, inayos na natin. Yung mga ganyan po, siyempre po may mga birth pains uli at may mga adjustments na kailangan gawin. Pero I can say po na insofar as instilling discipline is concerned sa ating pong mga motorista, yan po ay na-achieve natin. Kinukuha ko lang po yung datos for 1 week. Titingnan ko din po kung effective siya insofar as preventing road crashes are concerned.
And Chairman Don, nung sinabi niyo po na ang laki ng pagbaba rin ng mga violations, is it because nalalaman ng mga violators agad na nag-violate sila? How does the NCAP work po ba?
Well, unang-una po, yung tingin ko po yung kanilang consciousness na may nagbabantay. Yun po yung malaking factor. Kasi po, sa tingin namin, pag walang nakikitang enforcers physically on the ground, yung mga motorista, hindi po sila sumusunod or sumusuway sila sa batas trapiko, lalong-lalo po yung mga unloading sa hindi tamang lugar, yung pong hindi pagsunod sa mga traffic signs. Ngayon po, dahil alam nila na may nakatingin na through our CCTV cameras, ay mas pinipili nilang sumunod doon po sa batas trapiko.
But Chairman Don, can you give us an idea, yung overview, how does this process work? Because a lot of people are wondering, pag may violation ka, paano ka ba masasabihan? At, oo, I know that you can contest daw online, but can you give us the step-by-step?
Sige pa, i-rundown ko. Dalawa po kasi ang NCAP namin. Isang AI, kung saan artificial intelligence na po yung nag-flag ng violation. At yan po ay existing lamang sa EDSA. At the rest po, manual pa. Yun pong pag-observe at panghuhuli po ng violation. Doon po sa may AI cameras na tayo sa EDSA, pag na-flag po ng artificial intelligence yung violation, ipapasa niya po yan sa reviewer. Yan po ay mano-manong i-review. Then, pag kinonfirm po ng reviewer, ipapasa naman po sa supervisor na mag-a-approve. So, nire-review po yan, hindi automatic na huli agad. At pag nakita naman po nila na hindi tama yung panghuli, like for example, yung pong sinasabi natin na tumawid ka, red light dahil may emergency vehicle sa likod mo, i-invalidate po nila yon. At hindi na po yan aabot doon sa mai-issue ang ka pa ng ticket at kailangan mo i-contest. Dahil on our end, pag in-invalidate po yan upon review, ay wala na pong i-issue na ticket. In the same manner, ganoon din po yung pong medyo hindi accurate na report na hindi exempted yung mga emergency vehicle. Ang sinabi ko po doon, hindi automatically exempted dahil po unang-una, hindi po namin pwedeng iprograma sa AI na lahat ng may blinkers at sirens ay automatically exempt sa huli. Dahil pati po pribadong vehicle na maglagay lang ng blinker ay ma-exempt po automatically. And second, di ba po pag wala naman pong emergency kahit na emergency vehicle ka, hindi po dapat mag-violate ng rules at mag-ingat pa rin po Pangatlo, meron po kasi mga enterprising tulad ng service ng punerarya na naglalagay lang ng pangalan na ambulance, tas may siren at blinkers, ay nagpapanggap po ng emergency vehicle. Yan po yung iniiwasan namin. Kaya po, hindi po automatic. Pero upon review naman po at nakitang emergency vehicle, yan po ay hindi namin titikitan. So, yun po, isa sa paglilinaw. Then, kung ma-confirm po na huli, whether through AI or through tao namin, yan po ay padadalan ng notice. Nakalagay po lahat ng detalye kung saan nangyari yung violation, anong oras, anong klaseng violation, anong klaseng penalty, together po with pictures ng plaka, noong insidente. Tapos po, kung hindi po convince yung ating mga kababayan doon po sa pagkakahuli, pwede po nilang i-contest yan two ways. Pwede po magpunta sa opisina namin or through online sa website. Hindi po kailangan pumunta. I-fill up lang yung form. At through that, pwede po ring manghingi ng kopya ng CCTV camera na nagpapakita po ng huli para they can see for themselves kung tama or mali yung pagkakahuli.
Saan po
So, yan po yung
pinapadala?
proseso.
Yes, Chairman Don, thank you. That's very clear. Saan po pinapadala yung notice of violation? Paano po updated
Sa
yung...
registered owner po, yung sa address po ng registered owner. So, na nakalagak po sa datos ng LTO. So, marami rin po nagtatanong paano ko na-ibenta na hindi na siya yung may-ari. Dapat po look out po yan nung bumibili.
napalitan yung...
Ma-ensure na mapalitan yung rehistro, pati po yung address. Although, meron po kami ngayong ginagawa at ilo-launch namin probably in a week or two na una, nag-coordinate na po kami sa telecommunications company na gagawan po kami ng text notice na we just want to make sure na hindi siya magamit sa scam tulad po ng mga notice ng bangko at mga iba pa pong establishmento na pag naka-receive po kayo, pangalan lang po ng kumpanya yung naka-reflect na wala pong telephone number. Dahil po, pag ganyan kasi na may telephone number, baka pati yung mga scammers ay gumawa po ng alert, may link. Dito po sa text notice natin na ilo-launch, kasama po ang isang telco company. At isasama po yan natin sa system yan na pag na-confirm po yung huli, ay automatic na ipadadala through text yung notice ng violation.
So, mabilis
para
na.
alam na po, within an hour daw po ng confirmation ay pwede nang ipadala automatically yung pong huli para po fresh pa sa mind nung nahuli. And then second, meron po tayong ginagawa rin na app or i-launch natin yung may huli ka app natin. Dati po kasi meron kami niyan na pwede mong i-type yung plate number, makikita mo na kung may huli yung particular na sasakyan. Ina-adjust lang po namin yan, Attorney Karen, kasi baka po may violation yan ng data privacy. Kasi kahit sino po ay pwedeng mag-type doon, kahit hindi ikaw yung registered owner. At makikita mo kung may huli.
Based on the plate number po.
Yes, based on the plate number. So, ang ginagawa po namin ngayon, may registration para po yung registered owner lang ang pwedeng maka-access ng information, whether may huli or wala, yung particular vehicle. And siguro lalagyan na rin po namin na notice doon na maipadala through email or through text din po, follow-up through that app, iMessage or something, para po maraming ways na ma-notify po yung may-ari ng sasakyan kung sakaling may violation po.
And Chairman Don, meron kaming naririnig na yung iba daw tatakpan yung mga plate numbers ng mga motor o ng kotse para hindi ma-detect dun sa NCAP. How will you address
marami
that
po
risk?
tayong nakita na ganoon pong sitwasyon na nakukunan na may takip na may tape, may mask, or pinapalitan yung number para po makaiwas sa pagkakahuli. Yan po ay pinatututukan ko na marami na po tayo kasing in-install na rear-facing cameras. At yan po ay pag nakita po sa ating CCTV, i-alert po yung ating tauhan sa ground at haharangin po sila. At kami po ay nakikipag-ugnayan na sa LTO kung ano po yung posible na mabigat na parusa para sa ganyan po mga pagkakataon na tinatakpan po yung plate number na para po makaiwas sa huli.
Oo.
Pero rest assured po na aayusin po namin yan para hindi po makalusot yung ganyan po.
That's very good to hear po. So far, meron na po bang mga napadalahan ng notices of violation since NCAP started Monday?
Apa, meron na po. Yun lang po through mail. Kausap naman po namin at may agreement kami sa PhilPost na through express mail po yan na within 5 to 7 days po ay maipadala doon po sa registered owner. Yun pong notice of violation.
Okay. And Chairman, doon yung mga penalties po, gaano kalaki siya? Kapareho lang po ba ito ng mga violations, penalties in the past?
Ay, hindi po kasi meron na po tayong Metro Manila Traffic Code or yung single ticketing system po natin na common na po yung violation, penalties for violation across Metro Manila. At yan po ay mga reasonabling penalties. Pag nag-usapan po yan, pinagdebatihan, tapos sinet po natin yung reasonable penalty na hindi naman po sobrang gaan na pwede mong i-ignore kasi bayaran na lang natin. Parang ganun po, i-risk natin na mag-violate. Anyway, kaya natin or afford natin bayaran yung penalty. Pero hindi naman po siya sobrang taas.
Can you give
na
us
masyado ng restrictive.
Can you give us an example, Chairman Don? Ano yung mga average amount of penalties?
Well, like po number coding, 1,000, illegal parking, attended or yung may driver, 1,000, at kung wala pong driver ay 2,000 po. Yun po yung
So, yan ang,
among others. So medyo reasonable naman po yan. At again, ulitin ko po, medyo na-demonize po kasi itong NCAP. Kasi po yung previous experience po ng ating mga kababayan na na-charge sila ng napakataas na fees for violation. Pag hindi mo nabayaran agad, may interest at may penalties. Sa amin po, dito sa MMDA, kaya rin po siguro nilift yung exclusively sa MMDA yung pong TRO sa NCAP ay dahil nga po na-address namin lahat ng mga concerns ng petitioners. Actually, hindi nga po kami kasama originally sa petition. Nadamay lang po kami. Hindi nga po naman kami inirereklamo. Pero yun nga po, na-address namin lahat yan. Reasonable yung penalties. Pati po yung panghuhuli, hindi ganoon ka-strict kasi nga po, hindi po full AI yung aming NCAP, kung hindi may automatic review. At yung reviewers po natin, may utak po yan, may puso po yan na hindi ko mo nagpalit ka ng lane, kahit bawal, dahil may obstruction naman, nakikita po yan through automatic review. So, masasabi ko po na kami po dito sa MMDA, hindi po business sa amin yung NCAP. Ang success po ng NCAP para sa amin, yung pong makita namin na bumababa yung bilang na nagba-violate. And hopefully, bumaba din po yung insidente ng mga aksidente.
Oo. At
dahil
mukha
nga po
pong,
maingat yung ating
like
mga
sabi nyo nga, mas nagkakadisiplina po talaga yung driver. So yung pagka po merong exemption like, for example, media, at walang hindi visible dun sa car, maaari pa rin silang magkaroon ng violation for number coding, for example. Tapos i-contest mo na lang by showing proof that you're a member of the media, for example?
Well, yun nga po, nakukote din ako na sabi ko raw po ay hindi exempted ng media. Ang exemption po na ibinibigay natin sa media ay yung clearly marked na media vehicle po. Kasi, siyempre po, yun po yung pumupunta doon sa mga pinangyayarihan ng insidente para maipaabot po yung balita. So, automatic po yan without giving certificate ng exemption na exempted po yan, lalo-lalo na po sa number coding. Pero siyempre po, yung mga pribadong sasakyan ng media, siyempre po hindi naman po namin pwedeng i-exempt automatic yan or lahat bigyan ng exemption. Ganon din po, marami pong sektor na humihingi ng exemption. Meron po yatang pahayag yung representative po ng party list ng mga senior citizen asking us for exempting all senior citizens. May mga grupo po ng doctors and other professions na humihingi po ng exemption as a group. Ang request ko lamang po, i-dry run pa naman po yung ad-even scheme sa EDSA. Baka po pwede pong bigyan muna po kami ng pagkakataon na makapture accurately yung data para po makita namin kung pwede ba kaming magbigay ng exemption at valid po ba yung pagbibigay namin ng exemption. Pero po sa ngayon po kasi, dahil dry run pa lang naman po yan for 1 month, sana po hayaan kami na implement muna po ito without exception, except nga yung mga nabanggit na emergency vehicles, marked media vehicles, para po naman maalaman namin yung accurately yung datos at makapag-decide kami at makapag-adjust po accordingly.
Thank you so much, Chairman Don. Naubusan na tayo ng time, but I hope we can have you in the studio next time kasi ang dami talagang tanong when it comes to NCAP and the odd-even scheme na i-implement po ng MMDA. But thank you so much for your time.
Salamat po.
Thank you. As the calls for sweeping reforms echoes across government institutions, the voices of seasoned legal minds shed light on what accountability must look at times of transition. From the boardrooms of the GOCCs to the congested lanes of EDSA, the demand for action is growing louder. In their hands lie the vision of a system that can finally match the urgency of public trust. Be timely informed, be insightful of the news. Always stay at the forefront. Join us again tomorrow for deeper insights on issues that matter. This is Attorney Karen Jimeno. Thank you for spending your hour with us.